Dawgz. This is what it sounds like. Tupac, 133014, Los Angeles, CAK. Then Luther hears it again. No question this time. And close, somewhere, between chain link and back walls. Luther crouches fast, getting wetter, scanning Crete from concertina to puddles pelted with rain, nothing but storm. Then, behind those oil barrels maybe, or those piles of cinder blocks, once used as seats back when this place could roar, and palms slapped Feria, and the drain slopped red. Fucking cat, Luther snaps, mouth filling with nests of wire, crushing it into something sweet. Find it. Where? Tweety answers, even if he's already moving toward the old cement mixer, like maybe what's dying hides inside. The wobbly kid, though, Hopi, he looked like he heard something, or hearing Luther bark like that went all mannequin panicking again. Kid freezes up so many times he's like ice cream. Still standing on the far side, by the kennel door, that black Adidas jacket flapping in the flood, sneakers no doubt full up with sop. Hey, like, every time he he's walking on water. Let him loose, Luther barks. Kid can't manage even one step. Open the fucking door, wire turns to fucking rebar. Bootho pie just twitches, between what's for sure. Other and what's already scratching behind. The corrugated steel, not that Tweety needs to be told twice. Told, even once. See him fly across the yard. See a mountain move. Every puddle hit. A puddle, gone. Juarez whistles, low to watch their big man close the gap on this trembling boy. Cool estupendo. Tweety grunts, shoving Hopi aside. Head slams the siding on the way down, balling up on the ground like he gonna find an inside and where there's nowhere to hide. Like Tweety gonna get all brown bear on his ass, like Tweety care. One flick, one latch, that's it. Then like some kind of meringue dancer, Tweety pivots away from the opening door. Luther's dogs needed no direction. They roar out of there, already hunting, right over Hopi like he wasn't there, streaming around the empty pool, around bricks, lumber, fallen sinks, knocking over the cement mixer even. Tookie races to the edge of the diving board, teeth bared, barks once, and then circles back again with the other 8, all barking now. Sir, rounding the pool, looking for that something to settle their teeth. That sound, though, Wazatakri the it ha, they come. 15th, the we, rep. Ness, Eve, wit, wa. The first time it had sounded, even closer, like it had been coming from inside the van, just as they'd pulled up at the big. Then along, 15th, circling closer, until they were idling by the front window and doors, grilled and locked, where Luther never goes, still as the glass they replaced years ago with boards, the same still nest they find behind. Just water running everywhere, off dumpsters, paint cans, bags, with plaster still hardening at the bottom, dry. Wall and old framing piled up in heaps. Luther had stayed, all slunk low in the passenger seat as Carmelita rattled back the big gate. Got her pink bunny, chanclas on, shaking that YDS in pink juicy shorts, even holding up a pink umbrella fringed with some kind of fucking pink fur. Then in the next moment, Luther's all savage, like, what kind of cry was that? Mad dog, Ginhapa first. Who else gonna peep like that but not one of them? Not Pia, not Victor, sure as fuck not Tweety, owning what Luther swore he just heard. And truth was, Hopi didn't look like he had the guts to let anything about him. Peep. Peep. Juarez was asleep. Talvez this perro let loose a pedo, Pia had said, nodding at Juarez. He stink. When does he not stink? Luther had laughed, but no laugh was getting this thing out of his ears. The gate, grinding on its chains, helped dim it some. Carmelita distracted him too. Big woman. Handled that big 8 just fine. Beware of. Then beware. Then just be. Not a fucking placa. Either. Place way below the radar. 10 cars in there are. Hide an army if he had to. 16,464. T of course back when. This place just started. Going some idiotas. Had tried to badge the sidewalks, the front, even spray painted the gate, like they was gonna claim it for LCM, or some such set. Cleaning that up had been fun, plenty of help, too. Story. Grander Khan. Considerations organize. The divided Isaias, la eficiencia. Grander considerations came down to gambling and fighting. Boxing at first. Cock fights next. Once someone brought in fucking praying mantises, mostly though it was Dawgz. Back in the day, Carmelita or Rosario would handle the pieces. Throw in with the umbrella Safusca, or A to the muthafucked K some. Times that office got mighty full. Past what used to be the metal shop, out by the storage sheds. 20 or 30 easy would crowd around the empty pool. Sometimes an easy 50, throwing back beers, shots, watching dogs chomp for breath down in the deep end. The one that made it back to the ladder in the shallow end got the money. Sometimes a lot of money. Nothing like what the balloon parade brings. Luther now, but this shit still was something else. Something special. To suck you, offer another hit of Crystal or Paco everyone. Just bringing shit to settle shit. Andror, Mexicans, Brazilians, Hondurans, Cubans, Haitians, Dominicans, Koreans too, Chinese, anti-gabachos even, Russians usually, but now and then some college types coming round for the adventure. Outside of Lupita's Mi Banda Es Mi Huerta, this was Luther's first taste of what Teo meant when he said alliances will reorganize if the flag is green. In the end, thanks to some Vietnamese regular, the fools tagging Luther's crib got one sanguine Madrazan. This was all before Michael Vick and his bad news kennels hit the news. With that national flap, over what always be a fair fight, moan in same time as these bitches be puttin' down. Bitches soon up sundown, Dawgz had to go quiet. Not like Luther gave shits about no NFL, either. Still something about Vic stuck. Dude, had fought hard and got close. Ridley Circle, Holmes the Falcons, before fucking up. Chained, up, marched off, kicked down to Yard Ballin in Leavenworth. Luther caught sight of himself in they. Die a Vic, big money, risen, didn't want. At least with football, if you had the guns, could still wind up an eagle. Luther's game, if he got caught with the guns he could spend your senard learning to play football, FTB all, whatever ball they beat back and forth, to bury, time behind bars. Suddenly crowds turned, success to distress. All it took was one pinch of pedo posting. Too much shit on Facebook. Leave a GPS flag on a pic and that was it. Luther kept a tight fix on his crew. Tweety handled phones, web shit, on parcel. Thoughts he had made up one OG to represent them all. Dawgz laws. Got out word that way when news needed spreading. Or just a mess with shit. Dawgz laws let everyone know Dawgz had closed. Dawgz had moved on. Go fight your brawlers somewhere else. Luther had emptied the crates, tossed the leashes, but still kept the place not even owned. Luther just took care of his girls who took care of his dogs and the lease. For years. With years still left. Early on they had milled metal here or bent it, later recycled it. None of the bins, die cut, machines, or welding shit was left. Just space. Throw down some mattresses, a couch, one of Victor's pal Shad, wired them for cable. Still, had Theold fridges, too, plus enough AC to keep the girls off of some frenzy. When summer got rough, they could keep each other warm when things got cool. Before Luther, someone had tried to put in a pool, dug it up, sealed it up, put in a working drain, but never installed no pump, never filled it. Hard to understand. So it went by two names, pool or pit, depending on the mood. Ashva la medicina. First thing Carmelita had said as Luther climbed out of the van. Missed you last night. Luther hugged her under that pink umbrella, even if all of a sudden his head was back on the job waitress again. Luther wanted her even more now. Fuck cared about nostrils. Maybe even bring her here. Let some Luther music hunger up the place. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Where's Rosario? She out? Better not be bringing no one back. Carmelita looked down. I said she was out. Stupid. Alley. It F. Luther got up. On Carmelita's. Aston. Gripped. It good. Then because. Rosario's. Flipped her. An extra grant. Luther. Wanted. Make damn sure. Rosario found. Out. Maybe. 2 grants. That. Got Carmelita. Juicy for reals. A Saul wiggling then. Like her smile. Coonazos. Did Lairs Carmelita. Had said. Then. Always throwing. Out shit Luther can't. Answer. Of course. The way she vibrated. The tip. Off her tongue on a rupper. Lip. Both lips lipstick. Thick. Made clear what. She was after. What car. Melita's always after. She disappeared then 2 presidents. Under an ass cheek. Rosario will stick around. No doubt. When she hears how she missed. Out. From under the carport Luther could still see. All the way down the low chain link fence on the right to a brick wall and back. And then off to the left, the sheds where his pack better be. Waiting. Talk to me about my pool, Luther had said to Carmelita. Is it filling up? Back in March the rain gave it depth. It took more than a hot day to dry it out. This time I cleaned out the drain, Melita chirped. More tongue. Wanted her to stop that. Fuck her especially. When he was too blind. Drunk to see. But on this visit this bitch was the last thing on his mind. Luther grabbed her umbrella. You in pink. Carmelita laughed. You think a color's gonna tell me who I am? Luther had motioned then for Hopi to follow. The kid had a harder time leaving Pia than a pool dog who knows he no match. Hey, Cherokee Barrio! Carmelita cried out at him then. I'm not white, Hopi answered. Brave bird makes a fat cat. Carmelita will fuck anything. Maybe even Juarez, who's so glad to be out of the van. Still, hopping up and down, talking full on then about some prank in Brazil Victor saw on YouTube. Hidden cameras in a stalled elevator where the lights go out, then come back on, showing some 13-year-old girl inside. Ofa Sudden because, see she climbed through some secret panel, or some shit, infrareds, Injitol and she's done, up like that bitch, from, tharing, freaking, the shit out of anyone. Stuck, in there with her, TD freak to Juarez shouted. Hopping higher, TD beat that bitch silly, and ass fuck her too, just to make sure she was dead. You, Victor, with your guns, fuck me, you'd have painted that box red. PLWL pow, pow. Hopi had already slipped ahead. Had Luther noticed how he had failed to notice how Hopi had so ease. Ely passed him by. Luther might have proceeded more cautiously. Hopi had even opened the chain-link gate and was waiting. Luther told the boy to close it up behind them. Luther didn't offer his pink umbrella. The sheds were 10 feet of rivets, splashed brown and red, topped with more concertina wire. Luther had always forgotten how much like a fort this place was. At the only door in, Luther gave Hopi the combination to the padlock. It impressed Luther that the kid hadn't had to ask twice. Pop the lock on the first try. You got family. Just my mom. Well, now you got this family. And Hopi had nodded, but he hadn't smiled. Like already he was figuring shit out. Like, this shit is wrong. This shit is bad, even if he still kept trying to slick back the strands of hair that kept washing down into his face. It was about that time that Luther heard it for a second time. That cry, the peep, whatever the fuck it was, like it was giving him another chance or calling him out. Either way it came, on faint but fast. You hear that? Luther had asked. At least now he was sure it wasn't the boy. Hopi shook his head, eyes where Luther couldn't see them. Either the kid was lying to protect a thing, or he was just too weak to do anything but fear when Luther got at him. Luther's dogs gave up the best answer. Inside, most of the crates stood empty, except for 9, Doc Cavazos, Chen Chili, Rayful Eddie Slobo, Jim, Agron, Sendog, Lord Gino Smokey. Di, Miranda, and Tookie. Mixto mostly. Pitbull, Rottweiler, maybe Shepherd. Luther could still fight a few. There's the retired. Torn ears, snouts, scarred, cloudy eyes, some eyes just gone. Tess, to fight a life of combat, and striving. Retired how'd that be? Howells greeted them. Going to war against bars. Luther let Hopi help with feeding, and no doubt the dogs took to him. Like, as soon as he walked by their doors. Same too, when Luther let them loose. They circled the kennel, Rayful Eddie pawed at the door leading out to the pool. Fighter that one. And then Smokey and Lord Gino snorted around Hopi's legs. Even licked his hands. Fingers like treats, like some kind of piano player, harp player, like some old bitch used to fingering rings. Even cantankerous Tookie started nipping Agronin, and Lord Gino too. Keep clear. Seated herself right beside the kid. And then he said it, not slobbering, not a hitch. I know you don't need me, but I'm good at some things, computers, phones, and what I don't know I can read about. I can learn. I can be of use. Like what Luther told Teo that day near Olvera. Almost exact. Nothing so bleak as find Injun someone so strange an echo of yourself. Thought you opened the drain? Luther yells. Now, at Carmelita. It didn't say it was working. She answers, still, hanging back behind the chain link. They hang back. Even Juarez is afraid of Dawgz. Not Tweety, though. He stands on the other side of the fence on the coping, umbrellas. Out, but he's so wide the rain slaps down on his shoulders. Dogs see the round him like he part of the landscape, then disappear down into the deep end. Never one to put her own fear on view. Pia yawns and disappears inside the main building. Hopi, with that billowy Adidas jacket swung up over his head, joins Luther at the pool's edge. Oval thing. Empty except for the foot of water above the drain, where the dogs splash, play. Either way, churn it up, be there first, or like Doc Cavazos or Chenchi Lee stop to lap away some thirst. That's when Juarez springs, just reaches over the fence, and shocks Hopi with hard grips on each shoulder. Hopi squeals then, all certain he going to flip over the edge, but black-eyed Juarez pulls him back. Like a girl, Juarez yips. Hopi squats low then, breath heaving up hard. One of those pretty hands, pressed to his heart, like a woman, like Luther would ever have use for a man like a woman. Then he get a fucking woman like Carmelita. Or like Teo get a homie que is brutal. Something hot and galvanized edges his mouth. Maybe he'll kick the kid in himself. How old are you even? Juarez snorts, still laughing, still poking at Hopi. I thought I was going to fall in. Even Hopi laughs a little. Can't swim. Figured I was going to drown. Then I saw there wasn't enough water. Not enough to even break my fall. Just my legs. Hopi laughs harder. What metal Luther tasted is gone. Like a little girl, Juarez still repeats, though he can't hide his disappointment. I'm 21. You old, I thought you was 14 or some shit. Oh, hen, as long as I can remember. Guess it was 16. Too dull when I was. Now too soft when I'm big, like Juarez cares already. Stalking off. Hopi, shuffling away to watch the dogs from the far side of the pool. Better choice seeing how turn in your back on Juarez is always a fool's move. That goes for Luther too. Maybe there's another way. Kids, good with dogs. Luther could use that. His dogs too. Hopi, how are you with all that online shit? Nobody quicker. Hopi grins. Routers to cloud. Protocols to whatever kind of encryption you want. It's second, not natural. But what's Luther tell Teo? What had Teo told him? What else was Teo paying him for Luther? You got any family besides this? Hopi's question actually startles Luther, like him coming all the way around the pool without even catching Luther's notice, and now standing so close, just wobbling all big-eyed and curious at his side. Luther doesn't even glare, but whatever he gives beyond. The ink, the whites, darker stuff, his eyes shied more. Back hope pit the fuck off. This should do, Pia shouts. Carmelita tries to stop her, but Pia's laughs, like a shove. Pia's holding up one of Rosario's shoes, all pink with black feathers. Not her Manolos. Carmelita shrieks. Luther tells Hopi to take the shoe from Pia and go out on the diving board. Too afraid to walk, Hopi crawls to the edge, hands gripping the board, the shoe stuck in his mouth. Juarez starts laughing again. Like this is the start of funny in the world. That's Juarez. Even his 1000th time is the first. Like a little bitch. Juarez hoots. He should be down there too, with them other bitches. Show them what you got, Tweety shouts at Hopi. So Hopi lifts one hand off the board, then wobbles more. Maybe he, down there, dangles, over the edge, the Manolo, or whatever. Itis. At once the dogs cluster. Below, even the few that had wandered out of the pool head back in, heads high, all growls, and barks. Drop it, Luther finally orders. Pink with black feathers drops. The barking stops. Carmelita moans. Novin seconds. The pool filled with shreds. All that leather chewed through like meat. High heel to high heel. Tookie still snarls. Slobo Jim snaps at scraps along with Rayful Eddie until all they can do is sniff and look elsewhere. Looking up at Hopi. No longer wobbling on the board. The kid is hanging from the board tall too. Hopi only has a few feet to drop before he's squatting again, down in the water, the dogs all licking his face, but especially Tookie, taking his side, like Hopi's the only side. There's a first, Luther admits. Tweety don't disagree, whispering back. Welly need dis a cat.